Okay. Welcome to Middle Class Matters, Business News in English from Dr. CMV ALAGESAN. Hindenburg Report on Adani, Stock Manipulation and Accounting Fraud, Part Number 4. Continued. Concerns about the Adani Group's leverage have been expressed by credit sites, a fixed income research firm owned by prestigious financial services firm Fitch Group. A blistering report about Adani Group published in August 2022 had called the group deeply over-leveraged and suggested it could unravel Adani's vast business empire. The report was toned down in September 22 after credit sites met with the company. In its latest report, credit sites refused to change its investment recommendations and maintained that several of the group companies maintain elevated leverage owing to aggressive expansion plans that are largely debt funded and that have pressurized their credit metrics and cash flow per local media. We contacted a former senior official with India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, to hear his view on the Adani Group's debt mountain and possible knock-on effects for the public banking sector. His comments were guarded, saying, any group with such a meritoric right based on borrowings, acquisitions and an elevated stock prices deserves scrutiny. That said, Gautam Adani also has an amazing ability to buy assets on the cheap. That may mitigate credit risk, but worth examining why. An Adani Green Energy offering circular dated September 2021 stated that members of the Adani Group have from time to time breached and may be in the future breach certain covenants and obligations under existing financial arrangements, page 69. As a result of these breaches, lenders could declare an event of default, accelerate repayments, or trigger cross defaults on other arrangements. The company provided no assurances that it would have sufficient resources to repay these borrowings if this were to happen, page 69 and 70. As detailed below, the Adani Group companies are intricately and distinctly linked and dependent upon one another. None of the listed entities are isolated from the performance or failure of the other group companies. We believe it could take only one serious liquidity event at a single entity to trigger a negative cascade of events at other group entities which could affect the entire Adani Group. A portion of promoter equity in Adani Group listed entities is pledged for loans, effectively leveraging the group to the hilt. Beyond debt held by individual Adani Group entities, the company's promoter group, that is Adani insiders, have pledged portions of their equity as collateral for loans. Equity shares pledges are an inherently unstable source of lending collateral because if share prices drop, the lender can make a collateral call. If no additional collateral is available, the lender could require a forced liquidation of shares, often perpetuating a self-fulfilling cycle as stock prices move lower and selling continues. Below is a breakdown of the publicly disclosed equity share pledges by the promoter group entities for each of its listed companies. Shares publicly held by promoter group, percentage of promoter shares pledged. Adani Green Energy, promoter group 60.75%, promoters 4.36%. Adani Power 74.97% of promoter group, 25.01% of promoters. Adani Total Gas 74.8% of promoter group. Adani Transmission 74.19% of promoter group and 6.62% of promoter shares. Adani Enterprises 72.63% of group and 2.66% of promoter. Adani Ports 65.13% of group and 17.31% of promoter. Ambuja Cement 63.22% of the group, ACC 56.69% of the group, and Adani Wilmar 87.94% of promoter group. Beyond explicit leverage, we strongly suspect there may be additional hidden leverage within the Adani empire in the form of pledges on the undisclosed shareholdings described in Part 1. A family affairs. The Adani Group is largely controlled by family members, creating a ripe environment for unilateral and opaque financing decisions. The chairman and founder of the Adani Group is Gautam Adani, a former school dropout turned diamond and plastic trader. He is also chairman of 6 out of Adani's 7 publicly held listed entities bearing the Adani name. The credit site's August 2022 report referenced above also warned of the problems of concentrating power in the hands of Gautam Adani, saying, "It also comes with high key man risk as the senior management capability in the group companies in his absence may prove to be inadequate." Page 10. The Adani Group has been managed by families since its formation. Beyond Gautam Adani, the Adani Group's 22% leadership team features at least 8 members of the Adani family. From early in our investigation, it became apparent that it would be a major challenge getting first-hand insight into the sprawling business empire from former employees. We contacted dozens of former senior executives and former directors or past members of the group's audit committees. Some expressed loyalty or admiration for their former bosses. Others seem acutely aware of Adani leadership's relentless retaliation against its critics via criminal legal proceedings. See Part 7. Some, however, did agree to talk on condition of strict anonymity. Despite its formidable expansion in recent years, former senior executives told us that the Adani Group remains very much a family affair. One former executive said, "It's a family business. You know, it has been developed as a family business. It is the first generation business. In the Adani Group, Gautam Adani, his brother, his sons, I think they play a very hands-on role in day-to-day business because frankly, the culture has not changed since the time it was a small business, since the time they had just got into Mundra port." Other former senior executives echoed that assessment. One explained that as far as any key decision making, I would say it all flows back to Gautam Adani. All key decisions are made by Gautam Adani himself. Another said Gautam Adani retained maximum permissible shareholdings because he felt he had built up the business and it was his and his family's. The Adani Group has repeatedly faced allegations of corruption, money laundering, and theft of taxpayer funds totaling as estimated US $17 billion. Investigations have either been stalled or stonewalled by various arms of the Indian government. Members of the Adani family have also played a significant role in alleged illegal activities taking place within the group. Import-export scams involving diamonds, iron ore, coal and power equipment were some of the early building blocks of the Adani business empire. According to multiple investigations by the Finance Ministry's Anti-Smuggling Unit and other national and state-level investigative authorities, the Adani Group has been the focus of multiple government investigations alleging corruption, money laundering, theft of taxpayer funds, and siphoning from listed companies, estimated to total at least US $17 billion. We thoroughly detailed this investigation in Part 5 below. In virtually all these cases, despite what happens to be extensive evidence of wrongdoing, including documents, witnesses, and bank records. Relevant investigations were eventually stonewalled or delayed by various other arms of the Indian government. Gautam Adani's brother helped plan a diamond trading scheme between 2004 to 2006, as alleged by Directorate of Revenue Intelligence (DRI) investigative records. He had separately been arrested on allegations of customs tax evasion, forging documents, and illegal imports. He currently serves as managing director of a vital part of the Adani Group. Gautam Adani's younger brother, Rajesh Adani, then managing director of Adani Exports, later renamed Adani Enterprises, was one of the several family members accused by investigators of playing a central planning and consultation role in a diamond trading import-export scheme around 2004-2005. Per DRI investigators and witness statements, all the policy decisions regarding imports and exports of gold or diamonds in respect of AEL, Adani Exports Limited, and other companies was being taken by Sri Samir Vora in consultation with Sri Rajesh Adani, Managing Director, AEL. Rajesh Adani has been arrested twice in 1999 and 2010 for matters unrelated to the diamond trading acquisitions, according to media reports. The 1999 arrest was over allegations of customs tax evasion, forging import documentation, and illegal coal imports, according to one media report. The 2010 arrest was linked to a separate allegation of customs tax evasion and undervaluation of imported goods, this time related to naphtha and petroleum products, according to another media report. Typically, when an executive is alleged to have spearheaded a scheme to defraud the government and is arrested multiple times over allegations of other types of fraud, that executive is terminated. In some countries, they end up in jail. At Adani Group, they apparently get promoted. Rajesh Adani currently serves as Adani Group's managing director, described as a vital part of the Adani Group, developing its business relationships. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, give your comments. Thanks for watching.